Yo, 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 yo. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing? Happy Saturday. Club going up on a Saturday. Good morning. Yo, what's up, Tyron? What's up, Cal from Fresno? Since Hertz is ruled out, should I go A.J. Brown or Scary Terry? That's a good question. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Kenny Pickett's good enough for A.J. Brown to continue to put up good numbers, but I would say I think the safer move would be playing Terry McLaurin, so that's the way I would lean. Yo, what's up, Brian? Yo, Nick, should I start? What's up, Donnie? Donnie Bravo, how you doing? Should I start Debo or Thielen? Chuba just went on the IR and Garendo is still available. Yeah, I would go Thielen. Real shame that Chuba got put on IR. Really only because when you hear the way that they were talking about Chuba Hubbard, it made it almost seem pretty clear that he was going to play, at least in my opinion. Now, again, maybe I read into things differently than you guys do, vice versa, because obviously not everything is so cut and dry in the NFL, right? You kind of have to read through the tea leaves. You kind of have to decipher what you believe is true, what you believe is fugaz. And personally, I believe that that was true. I believe that he was going to play, and I was wrong. Good morning, AJ. Are you starting Chig or Pitts this week? I'd play Chig. Smash that like button. Facts, Brian. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man? Hey, Nick. In the flex, Dobbins, McMillan, or Ford? I would probably go McMillan. Hey, yo, Nick. One question for you, my guy. What's up, man? Goff or Purdy? That's a good question. Cisco Disco. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I got Goff 8, Purdy 10. Kicker, Dicker or Richard? Great question. Great question. I've got Dicker the kicker 9, Richard 4. Flexing McMillan and benching Jennings. What do you think? I agree with that. Herbert or Nix also starting Ladd. Even though you are starting Ladd, I would still go ahead and lean with Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix has just played so phenomenally. The Bengals defense is trash, so I like that spot. Currently have the Chargers defense. Do you think I would do better with the Eagles? I mean, I think they're both great starts this week. Personally, I have the Eagles ranked 1, Chargers ranked 3. So if you want to make that change, I don't think it's that crazy. I'm not sure who to go with between AJ Brown and Scary Terry. Nico sold on Wednesday, so you need to make a point. Yeah, I would go Terry. Good morning, Donald. How you doing, man? Rashad White or Jerome Ford? Great question. I would play. I mean, I think if you want to be safe, like Rashad White is significantly safer than Jerome Ford, but I would go Jerome Ford. Purdy, Murray, or Tua Tagovailoa. I would go ahead and play Purdy, Murray, or Tua. I got Purdy ranked the highest. Purdy. J.K. Dobbins or Jerome Ford. I would go Jerome Ford. I don't have Dobbins ranked the highest. Maybe I'm too low on Dobbins. I'm going to go ahead and just pull up like what the Dobbins. What is the consensus on Dobbins right now? J.K. Dobbins consensus is running back 43. I have him at running back 23. Like, I think there's a pretty high chance that he potentially just doesn't do anything. And what I mean by that is I think there's a chance that he ends up just as a complete and utter disaster. Because you play him thinking, oh, he's going to be 100% healthy, this, that, and the other thing, and then you end up getting, bent over a table by him. So it's kind of a tough scene out here. Tough scene. I'd go Ford. Maximilian, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Chig, Kincaid, or Ferguson? Great question. It's a good question. I'm kind of just done with Kincaid. Now, could Kincaid go out here up against the Jets, score 15 fantasy points? Of course, right? Like, he's a good enough player to do so. I still do believe that Dalton Kincaid's a very talented player. Like I said all offseason, like I'm not going to change my tune on him necessarily. Like my opinion on the guy is still the same. I still think he's very talented. But I think when push comes to shove, I would much rather play either Ferguson or Chig. I have I have Chig ranked 14. I have Ferguson ranked 16. Chig has been on fire. He's been playing really well. The Jaguars defense is obviously no bueno. So I think the smart move would be, I'm going to bump Chig up actually into a higher tier. So I would go Chig personally. I feel pretty confident in Chig today. I like his matchup a decent amount. Actually, I like his matchup a lot. And again, when a guy's been playing as well as Chig back-to-back weeks, if you're playing in full PPR inside the top 6. So I would have to go with Chig. I mean, if you're putting up those numbers, now you're going up against the Jaguars if you're playing real well. I get the Titans are not a great team, but I still think Chig is the most value out of that group. So thank you for the super chat. Flacco, Kyler, Nix. Flacco. Is Anthony Richardson out? Am I stupid? I didn't know that. I thought Anthony Richardson was supposed to play. Questionable. Okay. Yeah, I'm not playing. I'm playing Kyler and Nix. There's no way you're playing Flacco. Can't be playing Joe Flacco. Championship week. Let's fucking go. Let's go, Cal, man. I appreciate that super chat. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy year. This has been awesome year. I appreciate all your guys' support. Whether you just started watching today or you started watching at the beginning of this season, a couple weeks ago, a couple years ago, I really appreciate all you guys. Genuinely. I try not to get all emotional on these streams and be like, oh, you guys are the best, but you guys are really. It's crazy. Very crazy, in my opinion, that we've got to this point of making videos where so many of you guys watch. So I really appreciate you. Yeah, Spock isn't here right now. I don't know if he will join. I didn't tell him I was going to go live, so it's kind of my fault. But I'm going to try to answer as many questions as possible. So thank you again, Cal. I appreciate you. Colts, Vegas, or Bengals defense? That's a great question. I would go with the Colts. Again, anytime you can stream up against the Giants, I think it's just kind of free bread, in my opinion. The Giants just suck so fucking bad. They just really do. So it's the Colts. It's the Colts for me. It's the Colts for me. Real championships were last week. I disagree. I don't know anyone who played their fantasy championship last week. My fantasy championship is this week. If you play next week, that's when the crazy ones are. But ever since they moved to an 18-game season, all my leagues have been week 17. Nothing against. If your championship was last week, you're probably avoiding a bunch of stupid injuries. AJ Brown beat you. And again, if your championship was last week, I'm not making fun of you. It doesn't matter to me, but I think most people are playing this week. Start 2, AJ Brown, BTJ, Neighbors Hill. I would go AJ Brown and Brian Thomas Jr. You lost Chuba. What's wrong with him? Chuba Hubbard has an injury that's been lingering. They put him on IR. I don't remember the exact injury, so that's why I'm pulling it up. He was listed as questionable with a knee injury, and then they ended up putting him on IR, so he's out for the rest of the season. The real MVP, thank you for the super chat. Flacco, Pickett, Young, Herbert, or am I cooked? You're not cooked. I mean, realistically, yeah, you're kind of cooked. You're kind of cooked, but you're not fully cooked, not fully filleted. I mean, I think the smart move is just playing Herbert, right? Like, I think that's just the smart move. The Patriots defense at points of this season has looked good. The Patriots are another one of these teams where it's like they have a couple of guys on defense, like Christian Gonzalez, who really have the ability. It's like, okay, Christian Gonzalez is really, really, really good, right? You can see it just from watching the games. You just watch the game. You're like, okay, this guy really has it. But they don't have a crazy amount of pieces. So I would go Herbert. I mean, Herbert's been pretty up and down this year. Like, Herbert hasn't been the most consistent quarterback in fantasy, and this could end up being a complete and utter ass whooping where they don't have to throw the ball as much, but ultimately the team has kind of leaned into being more pass heavy early on the season. They were just handing the ball off every single play, and that was really dictating negative play for Justin Herbert's fantasy value. I don't think Justin Herbert's going to end up screwing the pooch for you here. Oh my god, my cat just scared the shit out of me. I don't think I don't think Justin Herbert's gonna end up screwing the pooch for you. I don't necessarily think he's gonna have like this crazy week-winning game, right, where he's like a top 5 quarterback, but I think he's reliable enough to where Herbert will be fine for you. Herbert, so I'd go Herbert. Lily XX _plays. Thank you for the super chat. Hurts is out. Yeah, that hurts. I mean, this is one of the more injury-riddled championships where just players are just dropping like flies. Like Chuba, I really thought he was going to play. He's out. CeeDee Lamb, I didn't really think there was anything to worry about. CeeDee Lamb, he's out. Hurts I kind of saw coming more compared to the other guys. But yeah, Hurts is out. Aaron Rodgers, Bryce Young, or Drake May. Pick one for the chip. Also, B-Rob, Dobbins, or Spears. Pick one. Great question there. Aaron Rodgers, Bryce Young, or Drake May. Oh, man. Here, I got to open the door for my cat really quick. It's going to take half a second. Here we go. Oh. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. My cat was screaming, like, let me out. So no Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Bryce Young, or Drake May. Last week, I kind of bought back in Aaron Rodgers. I was kind of high and mighty on Aaron Rodgers. I was expecting Aaron Rodgers to do something, and then Aaron Rodgers absolutely bent me over a table. Bryce Young has been playing pretty well. He's got a good matchup up against the Bucs. And then Drake May is kind of just meh, in my opinion. Like, he's fine. But he's been throwing a bunch of picks recently. But he has been a top 18 quarterback in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight games. Bryce Young's going up against Tampa, though. In my opinion, I'm going to move Bryce Young over Drake May. If you want to be safe, the answer is Bryce Young. Like, if you're thinking, hey, I want to just make sure I get, a top 16 quarterback game, like my quarterback doesn't absolutely screw me over, then yeah, that's what I would do. I would play Drake May. But if you're looking for more upside, I have Bryce Young ranked out of Drake May, so I would go Bryce Young personally. And then also B-Rob, Dobbins, or Spears. I think Dobbins is a real large question mark this week. I think Dobbins could end up, having a huge game. I think he could end up having a terrible game because they might not fully utilize him. He is coming in banged up. This is a game they're expected to win. This is a game that they don't necessarily, they need to win to make the playoffs, but I don't think they need to, kill him to do it, right? They don't need to execute J.K. Dobbins to do it. I would go Brian Robinson Jr. I know he played terribly last week, but that was a much tougher matchup than up against Atlanta, so I believe B-Rob bounces back. So I would go with Brian Robinson personally. So thank you for the super chat again. It's going to be Bryce Young for me. If you want to be safe, play Drake May, and then I would go B-Rob. Please, bro, Connor or Aaron Jones. It's all about if James Conner plays or not. Is he going to play or is he not going to play? Who is questionable is expected to play. So he's expected to play, so I'd go James Conner. Losing Chuba and Hurts, I agree. Bryce, AR5, Penix, help. I'd play AR5. Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams for me. Bless me. Standard league. Pick three. Devontae Smith, Jerome Ford, Tajay Spears, J.K. Dobbins, Michael Pittman. I'm going Ford, Spears, and Smith. Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams. Bucks or Lions. Bucks or Lions. I would go Lions. Young, Stafford, Tua, May, or Rodgers. Hurts injury cooking me. I have Puka, though. Well, okay, so the fact that you have Puka would push me closer to Stafford, so I would go Stafford. London over A.J. Brown or BTJ since I started Charbonnet over London. No, I'd stick with A.J. Brown and BTJ. I have Fairbairn and JSN. They killed me this week. Yeah, again, this is a fucking brutal start to the week. You play BTJ, you play JSN, he screws you. You play Fairbairn, he screws you. You had Chuba, he screws you. You had CeeDee Lamb, he screws you. You had Hurts, he screws you. Now, again, injuries are different, but yeah, it's tough sledding out here. I didn't expect the Houston Texans to get stifled like that. I don't think anyone did. Right now, again, you might have said, oh, I thought the Ravens were going to beat down on the Texans. Sure, that's a fine thought process. But did anyone think they were going to score 2 points? I certainly didn't. I certainly did not. Ryan, thank you for the super chat, my man. Rank these wide receivers half PPR. BTJ, Jennings, Reed, and Neighbors, ? Mooney. Yeah, Neighbors is questionable. Let's read about Malik Neighbors. Let's do some light reading here. Malik Neighbors trending towards playing. Optimism towards playing. Hopeful. Neighbors is expected to practice on Friday after he missed practice on Wednesday and Thursday. Neighbors will both practice on Friday. Giants are hopeful they will play versus the Colts. Yeah, so the hope is that they play. It's tough. It's tough. All right, so Locke's going to be the quarterback one. I mean, I think Neighbors going to be fine. So for me, it's BTJ, Neighbors, Jennings, Mooney, Reed. BTJ clear 1, Neighbors clear 2. So BTJ would be the clear. I'm just gonna type it out. Clear 1 is BTJ. BTJ. Clear 2, in my opinion, is Neighbors. And then after that is where it starts to get dicey, right? Like, I think you can argue Mooney over Jennings, but I would go Jennings. And I think Reed's pretty clearly the 5. I don't want to touch Reed in my fantasy championship. So I like BTJ just because the volume's going to be there. I know Mac Jones fucking sucks, but like the volume's going to be very high, and Mac Jones actually been playing pretty decent. Neighbors is clear 2 because the volume. And then Mooney and Jennings are kind of interchangeable. Jennings had a better game than Mooney. I mean, Mooney had a better game than Jennings last week, but that could easily flip-flop. Just due to the fact that I think Drake London's going to be more involved and play better. So I would go BTJ 1, Neighbors 2, Jennings 3, Mooney 4, Reed 5. That's my answer there. Good morning, Caitlin. How you doing? Good morning. Fantasy Football 101. Would you start Abdullah or Raheem Blackshear? My other running back is Isaac Garendo. Oh, man. I don't think I want to play Raheem fucking Blackshear. Now, could Raheem Blackshear have a decent game? Yeah, right? Like, again, I'm not going to sit here and just completely diminish all that is Raheem Blackshear, but does anyone in their right mind expect him to go out there and have a good enough game to be start worthy? And I'm talking about like legitimately start worthy. Sure, some people might have to play Raheem Blackshear. They might have to, right? You might be in a deep league, right? You might have no one else to go to. You might just be absolutely filleted like a fish, right? You might be fucked. You might be back against the wall and you got to play him. That's acceptable. I get it. But in my opinion, I don't think I would want to be playing Raheem Blackshear. I think I trust Abdullah a lot more. Now, a lot of people like Madison more than Abdullah because, Madison's kind of the more safer projection, right? You kind of know Madison is going to get more touches, right? That's kind of like a basic level analysis, right? I didn't say this, and then people are like shocked. Oh, wow, Nick's a fucking genius, right? He figured out that more than likely Madison's going to outtouch Abdullah. What a genius. Give this guy the crown, right? Of course. Of course, that's not like some super high level genius take, right? I wasn't trying to come off like that. But in my opinion, I would be going with Abdullah. Again, Abdullah's upside is incredible. Abdullah, while the touches aren't guaranteed, up against the Saints defense, all it takes is a couple of runs. And I mean, he could take it to the crib. Now, again, he's old, right? I don't think anyone was ever really getting down their knees, giving the Hawk 2 a special to Amir Abdullah, even when he was a young guy. Where did Amir Abdullah start his career? The Lions, right? Amir Abdullah career. Like, I just want to make sure I'm saying the right thing. And if he didn't, I'm going to sound like an idiot. Oh, yeah, the Lions. I know ball. I was 15 years old watching him on the Lions, baby. Now I'm 25. I'm old as hell. So, yeah, I like Abdullah. I trust him way more than Blackshear. So, yeah, I would go Abdullah. I think Abdullah could have a pretty decent showing. Thank you for the Super Chat, Fantasy Football 101. I just don't really want to be playing Blackshear. I just don't think he's as good as Abdullah. Hubbard out, yeah. Devontae Smith versus Dallas or Debo versus Detroit. The real MVP, I don't think in my fantasy championship, I could play Debo Samuel. I don't think I have the stones to do it. I think Debo could go off, right? We say this every week. Debo can go off. Debo can have a huge game. Debo could have potentially even a week-winning game. Debo Samuel is good enough to do that. He is. He's a talented enough player. We saw it last week. But, how many times does the game play out and Debo ends up having that huge game? In my opinion, not a crazy amount of times, right? I don't think a majority of times the game is played out Debo goes out there, puts belt to ass, has this huge game. Now, Devontae Smith is now dealing with Kenny Pickett. And anyone with half of a brain knows that Kenny Pickett sucks hog, right? Kenny Pickett is trash. But now with a better offensive line, he looked fine last week. Did he look amazing? No. Right? Does he look like, if you magically if he had to play all year for Jalen Hurts, you'd be ecstatic. You'd be jumping for joy. Of course not. You would not be ecstatic about that. You'd be pissed. But for one game, one opportunity, final game on the line, back against the wall, personally, I'm going Devontae Smith. That is what I would do. I would play Devontae Smith over Debo. I just can't play Debo. I know he had a great game last week, but it would be so unsurprising to me if he went out there this week and just played like absolute dog shit. He played so bad that you were just shocked at what you are witnessing. So I would go ahead and play Devontae Smith over Debo. Blizz Frank, thank you for the super chat. Pick one wide receiver and one flex. Jalen Cocker, Brandon Cooks, Lad, and question in the chat. Thank you, Blizz Frank. I appreciate you. I'll try to find your other question. Did you drop it beforehand or was this after? Might have been after. It was after. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Cup, Cooks, Lad, Cocker. For me, it's got to be Cup and Lad. Has Cup been trash for multiple games in a row? Yes. Has Cup been so bad that you're not sleeping right for the last couple of weeks? Yes. But at the end of the day, championship, you're sitting there. Championship is on the line. Gun to the head. Are you really going to play Jalen Coker over Cooper Kupp? Are you really going to play Brandon Cooks over Cooper Kupp? Now, could Brandon Cooks have a good game without CeeDee Lamb? Of course. Right? Of course. Of course he could. He's a talented player. Brandon Cooks, in my opinion, is very underrated. In my opinion, I think he's an incredibly underrated player. I think his NFL career is very underrated. But again, do I think with Cooper Rush under center that I trust him more than Matthew Stafford throwing the rock to Cooper Kupp? Or more than Justin Herbert, the pervert, throwing the rock to Lad? I trust Lad and Cooper Kupp a lot more. Now, I fully understand why you're mad at Cooper Kupp. I fully understand why you might be nervous to play Cooper Kupp. Because again, after you get bent over a table by a player multiple weeks in a row, you start to feel the pain, right? You start to feel like, oh, do I really want to go into my game like this? And I get it. I do. But there is no way that I am sitting Cooper Kupp or Ladd McConkey. So I'm just going to have to play them. I'm just going to have to play them. Do you think Kupp has a good game today? And do you think I start him over Coker and Cooks at flex? Or do I go out and get Abdullah? I'm playing Cooper Kupp. Again, I know it hasn't gone well. And there's a chance that it doesn't go well again. But at the end of the day, up against Arizona, a defense that has not looked great as of recently, a team that just got their back blown out by Chuba Hubbard and the Carolina Panthers, I think there's a good chance that the game ends up going the way of Kupp, and Kupp ends up having a much better game, and you end up not necessarily ecstatic that you started Cooper Kupp, but he ends up having a competent enough game to where you feel okay. So for me, gun to the head, I'm definitely going ahead and playing Kupp and Lad. Lighten it up. Thank you for the super chat. Lights you up. Thank you for the super chat. James Conner or J.K. Dobbins? It's James Conner, 100%. James Conner is expected to play, and I'm playing James Conner. James Conner's season hasn't been one of necessarily the ages. It hasn't been one of extreme safety. It has not been one of necessarily, oh shit, sorry. I did not expect that to make that loud noise. It hasn't necessarily been one of, a season you remember forever, right? There are some of those years where you watch and you're like, oh, I'm going to remember this forever. What a season that was. This, that, and the other thing. I'm so excited to remember this in the future, right? You're not going to necessarily look back and be like, you know what? That was the year where James Conner was dominant, where James Conner won me my league by himself. But James Conner has been reliable, and he is much more reliable than J.K. Dobbins coming off of an injury. So say what you want about about James Conner's safety this year, but it's 100% James Conner, assuming he plays. Start Young or Flacco if Richardson doesn't play. If Richardson doesn't play, I am not going to play Flacco. We have seen the Flacco experiment this year. Some really good, some really shit. Now, I understand Bryce Young hasn't been the poster boy of consistency. I understand Bryce Young hasn't been this super safe player week in, week out, but I do trust Bryce Young up against Tampa way, 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 way more than I trust Joe Flacco. So I would play Bryce Young 100%. Eli, thank you for the super chat. Would you start J.K. Dobbins or Jerome Ford? Achane is my RB1 and Kamara is out. Great question, Eli. For me, again, it's going to be Jerome Ford. The Dolphins' defense is incredibly, incredibly, incredibly shit up against the run. The Dolphins' defense typically gets pulverized by the run. It doesn't matter if it was me out there, you out there, or Jerome Ford. Right? We're getting dirty. People are playing great. That's just what happens. So, in my opinion, I think the smart move would be to play Jerome Ford. J.K. Dobbins is coming off of an injury. J.K. Dobbins is not guaranteed to get his full workload. Can J.K. Dobbins have a great game against the Patriots even without a full workload? Yes. Is J.K. Dobbins a must-sit? No. But in my opinion, when you have another guy that I trust in Jerome Ford versus a guy I don't trust as much in Dobbins, it's a no-brainer for Jerome Ford. Please break down Raiders, Chargers, Colts, Miami defense. I got you. So for the Raiders, they're without Max Crosby, but the defense is competent, right? They are a competent defense. Again, they have a defensive-minded head coach. Is the team good? No. Is the Raiders defense elite? No. But they're going up against the Saints. They're going up against a team that turns the ball over at a high rate. They're going up against a team that absolutely got bent over a table. Bent over a table by the Packers last week. Right? So the Raiders defense, while they're not elite, they could have a big game. Then we got the Chargers. The Chargers are going up against Drake May. Drake May has a turnover in what feels like the 8 straight games. Their offensive line is incredibly suspect, which leaves a lot of holes for the Chargers defense to exploit. So I love the Chargers this week. For the Colts, they're going up against the Giants. The Giants suck. It's that simple. Even if Tracy and Malik Neighbors play, which would be my expectation, even with Horsecock Drew Lock, the Colts defense is good enough to absolutely put belt to ass against the Giants. We've seen what defenses have done up against the Giants this year. It has been a great recipe for success for fantasy football if you play a defense streaming up against the Giants. Then for the Dolphins, DTR is terrible. Dolphins defense is very spotty. They have games where they look great. They have games where they look terrible. Typically, they look great against bad teams, terrible up against good teams. The Browns are a really, really, really bad team. So that's what makes them good. All 4 of these options are great. In my opinion, I would have the Colts ranked number 1. Chargers 2, Dolphins 3, Raiders 4. That is my insight on those. So I would go with the Colts up against Drew Lock. Start Blackshear at flex over Tracy or Reed since Chuba's out. You said you don't like Reed. Yeah, I don't like Reed. It's tough for Tracy because I don't think the Colts have this world-beating defense. I don't think the Colts defense is necessarily so great to where a guy like Tracy couldn't find the end zone. The Colts allow the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th most points to the running back position. Now, the fact that the Giants' offensive line sucks dong is a huge negative. The fact that Drew Lock's going to be getting plowed all game long is a negative. But they will be able to run the ball early, and Tracy could find the end zone. So I would play Tracy over Blackshear. But if you're talking about Reed versus Blackshear, I think I would probably still go Reed just off the upside, right? If you're talking about 2 flexes, you've got 3 guys. I'm playing Tracy 1, Reed 2, Blackshear 3. But if you want the safest flexes, it would be Tracy and Blackshear. That's my opinion on that. I don't like Reed. I mean, I like Reed, the player. I like the matchup for Reed. But would anyone be shocked at all if Reed had 4 or 5 points? If he had 2 points? No, they wouldn't be. So that's kind of the reason why I'm just out on Reed. So if I had to rank them, it would be Tracy, Reed, Blackshear. The safest guys are Tracy and Blackshear, in my opinion. Thank you for the super chat. Tyler Hem, thank you for the super chat. Herbert or Goff? I'm going Goff. Goff has been incredibly reliable for our fantasy football teams. Game in, game out this season. Sure, he's had some down games, and I agree with what Humboldt County said. I agree with that. The ceiling is very, very high for Goff. This could be a game. Now, again, am I saying that the 49ers are going to shoot out with the Lions? No. But it's more likely that Goff gets into a shootout, that Goff gets into a high-scoring game with the 49ers compared to Herbert going up against the Patriots. I don't think that'll be that crazy high-scoring of a game. So, personally, I would go with Goff. Brock Gibbs, Rashard, or Sanders. Will the rain affect Sanders? It all depends. The weather in the NFL is one of the most tough things to break down because some games you watch the rain and it's really affecting things. Other games you watch it and it's not really affecting things at all. Some people will be like, okay, this game's going to be some torrential downpour. Let's panic, blah, 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 blah. People panic and then it doesn't matter. So it's kind of up to kind of looking more into the wind. So when it comes to Rashard versus Sanders, I think I'm going to go Rashard. 17-mile-an-hour winds for the Dolphins game. That's not good. Southeast. That's not good for a kicker. Sanders could still have a good game, even so, but I would definitely trust Will Rashard a lot more. XO, Stafford, Tua, AR, Bryce, Jalen is out. Also need a flex. Addison, J.K. Dobbins, Spears, Thielen. Great question. XO, Stafford, Tua, AR, or Bryce? Great question. If AR is in, it's AR, but you're not really being afforded that trust, right? Because Anthony Richardson could miss. Now, let's read about Anthony Richardson. Do a quick reading real quick. Anthony Richardson could miss. Should. Man, it's tough. It's tough. He's questionable. He wasn't participating on Friday. So I would say Anthony Richardson is probably on the negative side of questionable, but we've seen guys not practice all week and play before, right? So again, the fact that he's questionable and not doubtful also tells you that there is a chance he plays. Is it the biggest chance? No. I would say more than likely he probably will not play. But I would go ahead and play. I would play Matthew Stafford. Why? Because again, if Anthony Richardson doesn't play tomorrow and you don't play Stafford, then you're going down to Tua or Bryce, who I like much less. I know Stafford hasn't played the most consistent football, but up against Arizona, this is a game the Rams need to win. This is a must-win game. You win and you get in. Going up against Arizona, this could be a big game for Stafford. I like Stafford. And then Addison, J.K. Dobbins, Spears, Thielen. I really want to believe in Spears. I really want to be gung-ho and believe heavily in Spears and say he's going to have a huge game, but I don't really believe that. I think he could, but I don't believe that he's guaranteed to, like a lot of people talk about him. I would go Addison. The safety has been very high with Addison recently with a lot more targets. The Packers matchup is good. It could be a very high-scoring game. So I'm going Stafford and Addison. Lily plays Flacco or Bryce Young if Anthony Richardson is out. Great question. I would personally go Bryce Young. I don't want to play Flacco. Again, we've seen the Flacco experiment. There was some real good, some real bad. Now, maybe the fact that Flacco is not technically the starter going forward, maybe that's the juice he needs, right? Because we've seen when Flacco became the starter this year is when everything went wrong, right? When they were kind of just experimenting with him. He was playing well. I definitely trust Bryce Young a lot more. I love the matchup up against the Bucs. Melissa, I would go McMillan over Debo. Dev, thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. Baker with potential rain or Love in a shootout. Now for Baker, touchdown maker. The rain. I'm trying to find the report. Buccaneers. So it's going to be 9-mile-an-hour winds with rain, likely rain showers. I don't think that potentially derails the numbers that Baker could put up against Carolina. I don't think that will completely devoid him of having a huge game. Now, I have Love 7, Baker 5. So the way I think about this is if you're incredibly nervous about the rain, you can play Love. But what I will tell you right now is I am 100% playing Baker. Baker has been a top 8 quarterback in 3 straight. Baker has been putting up very reliable numbers all season. I love the matchup for Baker. So I'm just going to stick with Baker. I'm sticking with my guns. It's Baker, Dev, Rangham. Thank you for the super chat. I would go Baker. Brian, in the championship, I worry about Josh Allen getting sat or hurt. He wasn't as dynamic last week. Is Goff safer over Allen? Look, I have Allen ranked number 1. Allen getting benched is possible. They're going up against the Jets in not a must-win game. So there is risk inherently with it. Is Goff safer than Allen? Probably, right? Probably, right? But I think it's more likely that Allen finishes inside the top 3 over Jared Goff. If you're looking strictly for safety, if you're worried, hey, maybe Allen gets pulled, then yeah, play Goff. Play him. I think Goff should be a pretty reliable top 8 guy. I think he is much safer. So if you're looking strictly based on safety, Goff is way safer because Goff's going to play the whole game, in my opinion. Allen could get benched early, but Allen, in my opinion, just has more upside. I still think he's going to keep running the ball. I think he's trying to win the MVP. He's trying to become the MVP. He had a down game last week. He could go out there and put belt to ass. So if it's my team, I'm playing Josh Allen. Having a running back dilemma, Nicodemus, thank you for the super chat. But again, Goff is a little bit safer. I agree. Play 2 running backs in a flex. Oh man, that's a tough question because I have all of these guys ranked super duper highly. I am very confident in all of these guys. So that's tough. We're going to be live for around an hour. It is almost 11. The goal was to go for about an hour. We're around 40 minutes in. So we shall see. I'm not going live all the way up until game time because I have some stuff to do before the game. We will be live again tomorrow, though, at 12 prior to kickoff. Chase Brown, James Conner, Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving. This is tough because all 4 you would want in your lineup, right? You don't want any of these guys sitting down. But we're going to rank them. I have Chase Brown ranked as my running back 6. Jonathan Taylor 7. Bucky 8. James Conner 11. 4 guys inside my top 12. Gun to the head. It's going to be Chase Brown, Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving as the 3 guys you start. And James Conner is the odd man out. Now, I understand Jonathan Taylor has not been consistent this season. Jonathan Taylor has been a disaster if you started him, but the matchup up against the Giants is too great. He played so well last week. I think he stacks up multiple good games in a row. Chase Brown screwed the pooch last week. I know the matchup against Denver isn't perfection, but it's good enough. And he's played great. And then Bucky is kind of just a no-brainer up against Carolina. So Chase Brown, Jonathan Taylor, and Bucky. And sadly, James Conner is the odd man out. Thank you for the super chat. Need a defense bad. I have the Chargers, Titans, and Raiders. I'm going with the Chargers. Again, Drake May has been turning the ball over pretty consistently. Drake May has been getting sacked very consistently. The offensive line for the Patriots is just very much not good. Drake May is competent enough to have a good game. But even when he has his good fantasy games, he's still throwing the picks. He's still getting sacked because, again, the offensive line fucking sucks. So for me, it's kind of no-brainer Chargers. If I had to rank them, it would be Chargers 1. Then it would be Raiders, then Titans. So Chargers against the Patriots is kind of no-brainer there. We already answered this one. It's Baker over Love. Stefan Youngberg, thanks for the super chat, Stefan. Flex, Garendo, Reed, or Madison. With Hurts out, start Bryce Young, Mason Rudolph, Mac Jones, or Aaron Rodgers. Richardson is out, I think. Yeah, I think Richardson might not end up playing. Garendo, Reed, or Madison. Assuming Garendo is good to go, it would be Garendo. It feels like the 49ers running backs are just straight up cursed, right? And what I mean by that is you think they're going to play, and then magically they're out, right? You think they're going to play well, and then they just get whacked halfway into the game. It just happens every single week to the point where I'm not even surprised anymore. I'm just not even remotely shocked. I have Garendo as a top 24 running back, so I would go Garendo. If Garendo misses, then I'd play Jaden Reed. And then with Hurts out, start Bryce Young, Mason Rudolph, Mac Jones, or Aaron Rodgers. I would go Bryce Young. I think Anthony Richardson is out too, kind of the more I think about it. And again, it's not impossible for him to play, but I do think more than likely he does end up missing. Bryce Young has played well as of recently. I don't think you're getting a great fantasy game out of any of those guys, but I would trust Bryce Young the most, and I trust Garendo the most. Derek Just, thanks for the super chat. Hey, how's it going? It's the championship game. 2 questions. Thank you for the super chat, Derek. I appreciate you. Full PPR, flex, pick one, Reed, Downs, or Spears, and Packers or Chargers defense. Thank you. No problem. I would go with the Chargers over the Packers. The Packers defense last week probably put your team on its back. They went crazy last week. They went ballistic. They had a huge game. I like the Packers defense. With that set up against the Vikings is a real tough task. Whereas the Chargers are going up against the Patriots, again, a team that loves to turn the ball over, a team that loves to get sacked. I would go with the Chargers. And then for your flex, for me, it's going to be Spears. Now, again, I think it is risky to assume Spears is going to put up the same numbers he's put up over the last 2 weeks. I think it is risky to assume that Spears is the clear running back one over Tony Pollard. But I do think that I trust Spears way more than I trust Reed and way more than I trust Downs. So ultimately, the volume of Spears will outweigh that. So I'm going to go Spears and the Chargers defense. Thank you for the super chat. Boss, flex one. I have both Raiders running backs and McMillan. Great question. I do like, I'm fine with both Raiders running backs, but I'd have to go McMillan. McMillan has been on fire. So for me, that kind of tips the scale. If you put, again, we talk about this a lot. In some games, you put up a guy like McMillan, right? He has one good game. Okay, let's see how he does, right? You have one good game. You're Jalen McMillan. I liked him in the offseason. I liked him coming out of college. I'm not going to lie to you guys. When you start putting up bad games, it's like, okay, I don't want to start you. But then you have one good game, and it's like, okay, maybe if you have another good one, I'll trust you. And then he puts up 2 good ones. And then it's like, okay, I trust you. Then he puts up a 3rd good one. So when you've put up that many good games in a row and you're playing up against the Carolina Panthers, I'm going to trust you. So I would inherently 100% go McMillan. Nix or Young? Richard or Lutz? Thielen, McMillan, Chuba on IR. That's tough. I'm sorry that you lost Chuba. I lost Chuba on my team that could have won $20,000. I kind of think that team is dead now. Now, I don't think we're dead to, come in 10th and win $2,000, win $1,000 maybe. Have a fine season. That would be good enough for me. But yeah, I think my dream of winning 20,000 is probably dead with Chuba Hubbard going out. I just don't have a 3rd great running back, and I don't have enough great receivers really to carry me. But who knows? Maybe Achane and James Cook score 70 fantasy points. And then maybe Malik Washington gets lucky and scores a touchdown or something and I win. But Nix over Young, 100%. It's not even a debate. The Bengals defense sucks They suck dong to a large degree, metaphorically, of course. So Nix is a no-brainer. Richard versus Lutz, I would be going with Richard. Richard's been pretty solid this season. Lutz is going up against the Bengals. That could be a high-scoring game, but in my opinion, I think the Vikings are more likely to kind of get studded, at the 30-yard line, have to kick a field goal, whereas I think the Broncos might just run straight train on the Bengals and not have to kick a bunch of field goals. Sure, you might get a couple extra points, but and Lutz is a talented kicker. I always liked him back in New Orleans, but I would go Richard. So Nix and Richard, and then definitely McMillan over Thielen. I like Thielen a lot. I've always been a big fan of Adam Thielen ever since the days back in Minnesota with Stephon Diggs. But ultimately, and even before they had Kirk Cousins. But yeah, I would go Big Dick Nix. I would go Richard, and I would go McMillan because again, McMillan has been on fire. Yeah, make sure you guys hit that like button. Danny, thank you for the super chat. Start 2. Here, I'll put the little thing at the bottom. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Start 2. Oh, see you, Bride. Start 2. Neighbors if he plays. Tracy, Downs, if Flacco plays, or McMillan if Neighbors is out. Which 2 would you play? Okay. If Neighbors plays, it's Neighbors and McMillan. I cannot sit McMillan for most. Now, McMillan isn't technically must start because he's not like top 12 for me, right? He's not locked and loaded inside the top 12. So that is how we're going. So McMillan 100% is locked in. Then we are going Neighbors and McMillan. Because McMillan, again, even if the Giants suck, Neighbors is going to get so much volume that he's going to be safe. So Neighbors and McMillan, no-brainer in my opinion. Again, McMillan over those guys is clear. And then Neighbors over the rest is also clear. If Neighbors does not play, I would go with Tracy. I think Tracy's going to be fine. I don't expect the biggest game, but even in down game scripts, Tracy has played well before. So Neighbors and McMillan for me. And then again, if Neighbors doesn't play, it would be Tracy. I think Downs could be fine if Flacco plays. But again, like we've seen the tale of two Flaccos. We've seen great Flacco. We've seen down Flacco. I would rather just kind of stay away. Spears or White. London or Wilson. I would go London. Just heard about Hubbard. Is Blackshear a worthy replacement? He's fine, but I wouldn't bang the drum for him. Are we still leading BTJ over Hurts? I know you mean over AJ Brown. Yes. Mooney or Connor? Great question. If Connor plays, it's got to be Mooney. I mean, if Connor plays, it's got to be Connor. That's what I meant. It's got to be James Conner. I think James Conner is must play if he plays. Now, again, Connor hasn't been the poster boy of safety. Connor hasn't been the safest running back on earth. I get it. But I do believe that James Conner is reliable enough to put up good enough numbers to be successful week in and week out. So for me, it would be James Conner. He's expected to play from what I've read. I like to spot up against the Rams in LA. 3 straight inside the top 7. I like him. I think you got to play him. I know Mooney played good last week, but I think Michael Penix is going to get London more involved this week. So Mooney might have a worse game. I'm going James Conner. Bills playing for anything. Cooks could be limited. I mean, technically, NFL playoff picture. Technically, the Bills could lose the 2 seed if they lose and the Ravens win again. You know, like they technically aren't locked into the 2 seed. Now they can't become the 1 seed because the Chiefs are 15-1, but they could lose the 2 seed. So while maybe you think James Cook might be limited, I mean, the Jets defense really hasn't been good against the run. I would still be playing James Cook. I think you're kind of playing a real dicey guessing game if you sit him. So I would just be playing him. Again, the Ravens, are they guaranteed to pass up the Bills? No. Oh, wait, hold up. I might have did the math wrong. So the Ravens already played. So yeah, no, the Bills are locked into the 2 seed. Unless they lose 2 straight. Did the Bills play the Ravens? Bills schedule. See, the way the NFL works is so fucking confusing. Have the Bills played the Ravens? They have, and the Ravens won. Okay, so yeah, technically, if the Bills lose their next 2 and the Ravens win their next 2, the Ravens would... Well, the Ravens already won this week. So yeah, if the Bills lose this week and next week and the Ravens win next week, the Ravens would pass the Bills. So technically, the Bills are playing for the 2 seed. I don't know how much that means to them, but technically they are. I don't think Cooks will be super limited. And even if he is, he should play well enough in the first half to be good. Trust James Conner or play Dobbins. I'm trusting James Conner. I don't want to play Dobbins. I really don't. I think Dobbins is not going to get his full allotment of touches. I think Dobbins is going to they're going to ease him in. Now, could you get eased in up against the Patriots, blow their back out, score 25 fantasy points? Yes, he could. But is that the most likely scenario in my opinion? No. I know James Conner, they might ease him into. They don't technically even need to win. Their season's over. They don't even need to use him, but they gave him a big contract. They're going to play him. He's expected to play. So I'm going to trust that they're rolling him out there with full confidence. So yes, I trust James Conner way more than Dobbins. I do. Make sure you guys do hit the like button. That's a fact. 150 people watching. Now it's only 130, but that's okay. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Josh Allen or Bo Nix? Josh Allen. Are we worried that Conner isn't seeing full touches? I do think that is a potential worry, but I still think he's going to be fine. I would play James Conner and London. Neighbors or Wilson? Neighbors or Wilson? Neighbors is playing per Rappaport. Did that just come out? Did that just come out? Rappaport has me blocked on Twitter, so I didn't see that. Neighbors. I got Neighbors 20. Garrett Wilson 24. So I'd go Neighbors. If Neighbors is out, Thielen or Shakir, thanks Notorious, no problem. I would go Shakir. MHJ or Chig in the flex. Chig. Neighbors is playing. Good to hear. Good morning, Nick. Good morning. 2 Mile High Fishing. Would you play Sutton in the flex or Spears? Sutton. Mooney, Downs, or Dobbs? Mooney. No problem, Tyron. Do we play Dallas Saints or Jags defense? Good question. Dallas Saints or Jaguars? I would go New Orleans. Spears or White? White. What to worry about with Tyreek and T? Need to start one. Yeah, there is a lot to worry about with T. Higgins. Oh, and Terry. Oh, if you have Terry, just play Terry. If you only need one, just play Terry. That's actually really easy. Just play Terry. In the ship, and I have no idea who to go with. Yeah, I mean, that's how the season has gone. Worried about Devontae Smith with Pickett? Yeah, I am. I am worried, yeah. Michael Wilson, Yoshi Voss, or Zacchaeus for the chip. If T. Higgins doesn't play, it's clearly Yoshi Voss. If not, I would YOLO and play I'd probably play Mike Wilson. Pick 2, Drake London, Jennings, Dobbins. I would play Jennings and Drake London. Miller, Stevenson, or Dobbins. Stevenson, Higgins, or Cup. Higgins, but T. Higgins improved every day in practice, and there's optimism he can play. T. Higgins, season on the line. They are expected to have him. Yeah, so I'd go Higgins. Zacchaeus, Downs, or Madison? Madison. Ravens killed the Bills. Yeah, that was so long ago. At this point, that my brain doesn't even remember. That was back in week 4 in September. Yeah, the Ravens won 35-10. I do remember the game now that we brought it up. Neighbors or Wilson? Neighbors. Blackshear, Downs. If Flacco plays, I'm playing Downs or Blackshear. Abdullah or Rashad White? Rashad White. Someone in chat, please help me. Do I start Chargers defense against the Patriots or Raiders? I would go with the Chargers. Akankuwu or McMillan? 10-man full PPR. I'd go McMillan. Full PPR, need one running back and 2 flexes. Rashad White, Garendo, Dobbins, Reed, Downs, and Herbert or Kyler. I would go with Kyler. I would go with Rashad White. I would go with Garendo, and I would go Dobbins. Colts or Giants defense? Colts. White. Yeah, he did block me. He blocked me because I made a I don't even remember what the joke was, but I thought it was funny. Colts or Chargers? Oops, I would go with the Colts. Debo, Myers, or McMillan? McMillan, and I would go Myers. What do you think about Devontae Adams and T. Higgins? I believe both of them are playing. Thank you. Got to head off to your channel. Got me the championship. Thank you, CDEWI. I appreciate you. Sidui. Thank you for that. Sam Laporta or TJ Hawkins for the championship? I have Hawkinson 5, Laporta 6. I think Laporta's a little bit safer. So if you're looking for safety, play Laporta. If you're looking for more upside, play Hawkinson. Kyler Murray or Justin Herbert? I'd play Kyler. Appreciate it, man. No problem. Dobbins or Spears? Spears. Thoughts on Raiders defense this week? I think they're pretty solid. Mayfield or Goff? I like Mayfield. What's up, bro? McMillan or Kendre Miller? McMillan 100% rise above everything. And Dolphins or Cowboys? Dolphins. Drops you out like an idiot. No, that's okay. That's okay. Dolphins are good. Dolphins are great this week. Last one, Laporta or Kunku? Laporta. Janu, McMillan, or JMO? Janu. Adam, thank you for the super chat. Connor, Madison, Rudolph, Flacco. Pick 2, super flex. Great question. I think you have to play Connor, right? I think I would just have to go James Conner. I don't think you can sit him. I just don't. Again, people are worried about him being limited. People will worry about this. People will worry about that. Chief Keef ain't no hitter. Chief Keef ain't this. Chief Keef ain't that. But I'd go James Conner. I just trust him much more. So I would go James Conner. Then Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, or Flacco. Because I don't think I would play Madison over those guys. Now, shockingly, Mason Rudolph has actually been decent. He has been decent. He's been a top 18 guy in 4 straight starts. Top 14 in 3 of the last 4. Is he a great quarterback? No. He's not. No one thinks that. But Mason Rudolph is good enough up against the Jaguars defense to have a good enough game. So for me, I would avoid the Flacco experiment. Go Connor and go Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. Sean, thank you for the super chat. McMillan or Rashad got me to the ship. Nick, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you made it to your championship. That's a good question. Both guys on the exact same team. Both guys with good matchups. Rashad White, probably the guy that I would say, like, gun to the head. Who do you trust more, Rashad White or McMillan? I would trust Rashad White more. He has such a healthy dosage of receiving work with touches, but McMillan has really been riding the ship recently. McMillan has been putting up big numbers, the greatest numbers. So I would trust McMillan more. Now at this point, I just do. 3 straight games inside the top 20. I think he makes it a 4th up against the Carolina Panthers. So in my opinion, I would go with Jalen McMillan. Congrats on making your championship and best of luck this week. Hopefully you can eat that W. Hopefully everyone in the stream eats their W's, win their championship. Zach Dabney, my man, thank you for the super chat. Need 1 wide receiver and a flex. Ridley, Jennings, J-Mo, Spears, and Reed. Ridley is a guy that I probably have told you to play in 6 straight games. And one of these days, Ridley's going to have that big game. One of these days, he's just going to, right? The matchup is great. Rudolph's been playing well, but it just hasn't ever ended up really coming to fruition. Now, last week, he was the wide receiver 18. Prior to that, 43, 33, 65, 21. I mean, it hasn't been smooth sailing for him. So it's tough. I think I would go Spears just because Spears has been playing so well. I think you're kind of just stuck playing Spears. And I have Ridley ranked 32, Jennings 26 at receiver, J-Mo 29, and Reed at 38. So I would play Juwan Jennings. If you want to be the safest, I would probably play J-Mo. So I'm going to go Juwan Jennings for the bounce back and Tajay Spears because he's been incredibly hot, and I just kind of feel like you have to play him at this point. Running back 1, pick 1, Dobbins or Spears. Spears, pick 1 flex, London, Garendo, Thielen, Shakir, Dobbins or Spears. So I'd play Spears, and I would play London. McMillan or Garrett Wilson. If Adams doesn't play, I would still play McMillan. Full PPR, Ertz, Ferguson, or Kincaid. I'm trying to think of where I have Ertz ranked. I have Ferguson ranked the highest. Thoughts on Debo and Kupp? I don't like Debo. I like Kupp. Nick, need 2. Ford, Gibbs, Madison, Brian Robinson. You got me holding on first. 2 games to go. Thanks. No problem. Best of luck this week. I would go Gibbs and Brian Robinson. No, Gibbs and Ford. Blackshear or Hall? Hall. Zacchaeus or Downs? Downs. Thielen or McMillan? McMillan. Just for my little station, rate my new starting team. Bo Nix, Scary Terry, Nico Collins, Gibbs, A-Chain, Shig, BTJ, Chargers, Boswell. I love it. Nico Collins shit the bed, but I still think you should be fine. Eagles and I give you a nice 9 out of 10. Eagles or Dolphins defense, I go with the Birds. Greg, B-Rob, Bigsby, Abdullah. I would love to just sit here and say, oh, I love Bigsby. Because I like Bigsby's matchup. I love the player Bigsby. But ultimately, dude, I don't trust Bigsby at all. I love the talent. But would it shock anyone at all? Would it shock anyone at all if Bigsby went out there and had 3 fantasy points? I wouldn't be shocked at all. B-Rob shit the bed last week, but this is a great bounce back matchup for him. I like Abdullah too, but I would go ahead and go B-Rob. So again, even while I like Bigsby, and I really do think Bigsby is a really talented player, it wouldn't shock me if ETN literally got all the touches and Bigsby had like 3. It wouldn't shock me if Bigsby had 20 touches and ETN had 3. It wouldn't shock me if they both got 10 and 10, right? Again, these are just examples of numbers, a 50-50 split or a heavy split towards Bigsby, a heavy split towards ETN. None of those scenarios shock me at all. B-Rob, again, I get he sucked last week, but I like the matchup way better up against Atlanta. So I'm going B-Rob. Any offseason upload plans? Once the season ends, I'm probably just going to start relaxing. There will be a video of me breaking down the NFL playoffs. So if you want to know who I think is going to win the Super Bowl, it's funny, the team who I said was going to win the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure in like 4 years straight, has now came in second in the Super Bowl, which is funny. Like the runner-up, I've predicted correctly, but I can't predict the winner. This year, I think I'm just going to say the Chiefs. Why? Because the Chiefs just always fucking win, and maybe I'll be right for once. But in terms of off-season stuff, once the season ends, I'm going to take a break. Next week, I don't know what you'll see. Some people do play in the championship next week, so there might be a couple of videos, but week 18 stuff is so dicey. You really have no idea who's going to be playing, who's not going to be playing until later on in the week. And even so, it's like half and half who's going to play or not. But there will be videos in the offseason, just not as like daily as you get now, right? Basically from August until now, there's been a video basically every single day and multiple videos most days. So I'm not too sure about the exact schedule. J.K. Dobbins over T. Higgins or Devontae Adams or stash him. So my opinion is that T. Higgins plays based upon what I looked up. They are expected to have T. Higgins. Devontae Adams optimistic about playing. Devontae Adams, like I'm trying to find anything that says he's not going to play. Optimistic, positive update. He didn't practice on Thursday. Let me see Twitter if they've got anything. I'm not seeing anything about Devontae Adams that says he's not going to play. So I'm just going to assume he plays. So Devontae Adams and Higgins over Dobbins. Dowdle or Ford? That's a good question. I got Dowdle 20, Ford 16. Again, DTR sucks ass at passing, so they're just going to run. Ford is very incredibly involved in the game plan. So I think Ford's going to get a lot of touches. Again, the Dolphins suck against the run, so I would just go with Ford. I think Ford's going to have a halfway decent game, so I would go Ford over Dowdle. Just because Dowdle's going up against the Eagles, and I just really don't like that matchup. In the chip, Shakir Reed, looking at the weather, I'd play Shakir. Cup, Jennings, or Madison, I would play Addison. Connor or Neighbors, Connor, pick one, Devontae Smith, Mooney, McMillan, or Dobbs, McMillan. Thank you, Nikki. I have a lot of confidence in Knicks, Gibbs, and A-Chain. Yeah, I agree. You should. Best of luck. Raheem, Blackshear, Javonte, Debo, or Dobbs. I would play Raheem Blackshear. If you want more upside, you don't care about safety, play Debo. Abdullah or Blackshear. Abdullah, Darnold or Purdy as my other quarterback in the super flex. Josh Allen is my number one. I would go Darnold. All right, so spam your questions in chat. We are ending stream in the next 2 minutes. I'm ending the stream in the next 2 minutes, so just blast the questions off. I'm going to rapid fire answer, and I'm getting out of here. Then we got to skedaddle. Rapid fire. All right. Lost Hubbard, is Tracy startable? Yes. Jennings or Cup? Cup. Everyone make sure you guys smash that like button. Get that subscribe button. A little like tap as well. Make sure you do that. Show Nikki some love. Facts. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Tracy or Madison? Tracy. Make sure you guys do check out Underdog. Promo code Notorious. Check that out. Check it out. Miami or Raiders? Miami defense. Blizz, full PPR. How well do you think Blackshear will do? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't think he's going to do that well. Could he do fine? Yeah. I might have to move him up my rankings. Moved him up slightly as my running back 32. I don't think anyone should be excited to play Blackshear. That's kind of my opinion on him. I think Blackshear could have a good enough game, but I don't think anyone should be excited to play him. I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't very good at all. Like, I don't think anyone really thinks Blackshear is like some super talented player. So in terms of like Cup versus Blackshear, it's 100% Cup. 100% Cup. I just trust him way more. Thielen, McMillan, Rico, Reed, need to. I'd go Thielen and McMillan. Thank you, Nick. No problem. Miami versus Raiders, Miami. I am also excited. Didn't hear your response. Laporta or Hawkinson? I would go Hawkinson over Laporta, but if you want more upside, go Laporta. Need a flex. Shakir, Smith, Downs, Shakir. Any bets you like this week? As of right now, I haven't placed any bets, but we can talk about it more tomorrow. Cup or Blackshear? Cup 100%. Edward, thank you for the super chat. What's up, Nick? Full PPR 10-man have a chance to be a champ in this league. That's awesome. Made it by the skin of my teeth. For quarterback, Kyler or Knicks, Dolphins or Chargers defense, and for kicker, between Chase Ryland and Ryan Richard for the kicker. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate you. Means a ton. I will be rooting for you to win your back-to-back championship. That's sick. I don't think I've ever won back-to-back in any of my leagues. ever. I was going for the back-to-back, and my team choked the big wazoo. They ended up sucking ass, and we ended up not making the championship. But I'm in the third place game, so that's good enough. It is what it is. But Kyler versus Knicks, for me, it's kind of no-brainer Knicks. I like Kyler. I still believe in Kyler. The Vikings kicker. Isn't Richard the Vikings kicker? Isn't that his name, Will Richard? Yeah, the Vikings kicker. Yeah, okay. I thought it's the Vikings kicker. Okay, that's what I thought. So yeah, it's gonna be Knicks over Kyler 100%. I just trust Knicks way more than I trust Kyler. I don't mind the matchup up against the Rams. I think the Rams matchup is fine. For Kyler, like he could have a good game, but I would just trust Knicks way more in a wet dream spot up against the Bengals. Dolphins versus Chargers, both great options. I have the Chargers ranked slightly higher because the Patriots offensive line is just ass. Drake May has been a turnover machine. The Chargers defense is good. Again, they have had some ups and downs, but on paper, while they don't have the best defense, like on paper, like the players are, you're not like, oh, this is like some elite defense. They are coached very well by Harbaugh, and I think they'll be good this week up against the Patriots. So definitely the Chargers over the Dolphins, Knicks over Kyler, and then for the kicker, Chase Ryland versus Richard. I got Ryland for Arizona ranked 13, Richard ranked 4, so I would go with Richard. Well, I do think that should be a high-scoring game. I do think it's possible that the Packers end up kind of locking in a little bit close to the goal line. Maybe you end up seeing Richard kick a couple like 20-yarders and adding up some points. So for me, it would be Richard. So I'd go with the Vikings kicker. I would go 100% with Knicks over Kyler, trust him way more, and Chargers over the Dolphins. I love the Chargers defense this week. I love Knicks this week, and I love Richard because I got him in the top 5. All people in the top 5. So thank you for the support. I really appreciate the super chat. It means the world to me. Evans or Browns? I would go Brown. Chargers D or Las Vegas D? Chargers D. Dobbins or Bigsby? Dobbins. Rico, Marv, Spears, Dobbins need 1. I would go Spears. That's awesome. He made 2 out of 3 Super Bowls. McMillan or Sutton? I would go Sutton. It's the Vikings kicker. Okonkwo, Mooney, or Olave? Thanks. Okonkwo, Sutton or Thielen? Sutton. I just want to say thank you. You helped me get my first championship. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Top 3 kickers this week. McLaughlin, Boswell, Bates, but Boswell already played. So McLaughlin, Bates, Richard. Lost Jalen Hurts in both my leagues. Comfortable starting Bryce Young? Yes. Evans or Brown? Brown in my third place game and championship. That's awesome. Love or Herbert? Love. Which tight end? Kraft, Henry, or Chig? I would go ahead and play Kraft. Thank you for the super chat, Mr. Wombat. I am going to get out of here shortly. I got to get out of here. I've been going overtime. I was going to stream for an hour. It's an hour, 10 minutes, but you guys keep super chatting. I really appreciate you guys. Playing in 2 separate championships. Winner you lose, your channel has been a big help. Keep up the stellar work. Enjoy the weekend and best of luck. Best of luck, everyone, as well. Thank you. That means a lot. I'm super happy for you. That's awesome. It's always great to hear that the advice I give actually works, right? Because there's always that, negativity in the comments like, oh, Nick's an idiot. He doesn't know anything, And then, it's week 17. There's 125 people in here. There were 150 people watching earlier. There was a lot of people watching on Thursday. Hopefully there's a lot of people watching on Sunday. And that just shows that, hey, the advice does work. So I do appreciate that. I'm happy for you, and I hope you win both your championships. That would be sick. Even, just one is sick enough. So hopefully you get at least one. Knock on wood. I'll be rooting for you. That's awesome. Glad to hear. I'm glad that my videos help you, and I'm glad that you're doing great. Because, again, while I am helping you guys are also making the decisions. You guys put the team together. I'm not, behind your back crafting your team. You're the one drafting it. So very happy for you. That's awesome. And best of luck to everyone. I agree with that sentiment. Best of luck to everyone in their championship this week, whether you made it or you're playing for third place. I really appreciate all of you guys. The support this season has been unreal. And hopefully next season's even better. We're just going to keep getting better and better. And I really appreciate you guys. Once the season ends, there will be a bit of a, there's just going to be a lot less uploads. But come August, you already know, I'm going to be there multiple times every day so that we can win again, baby. Just keep winning. So I appreciate the super chat. I really appreciate you. That means the world to me. And I'm really rooting for you. I'm hoping you get both your championships because that'd be sick. It's better than winning one championship too. So I'm definitely rooting for you. I appreciate you, Mr. Wombat. Thank you so much. That means the world to me. Dobbins or Spears? Spears. Baker or Burrow? Burrow. Ladd, B-Rob, Higgins or Debo? Ladd. Actually Higgins. Dobbins, Ford, Garendo, or Tracy? I would go Ford. Thank you, Nikki, for all you've done for us. Thank you. Stevenson or Allen Iverson? I would go Stevenson. Should I start Connor, Cup, Marv, or get Downs? Yeah, no, I would be playing Connor in the flex, but if you can play 3, it would be Connor, Cup, and it would be Dobbins. Adams or McConkey. Adams. Cup or Garrett Wilson. Cup, Kraft or Strange. No, Kraft or Strange. Thanks, Dick. Been watching for 4 years now. Been lots of help. Awesome. Winner gets 2K. Stafford or Goff. Higgins or Chase Brown. Appreciate it. Good sir. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys. Salute to you all. We're getting out of here. It's 11:22. I appreciate you all. Thank you guys so much for all of the support this season. It does mean the world to me. I can't believe that the season's already over. It feels like a couple weeks ago since we started. Let's all have a great Saturday. We're going to have a great Sunday as well. Burrow, Knicks, or Goff. I would go Burrow. With CD out, I got Chase. Do I start him over Aubrey? I still think Aubrey's going to have to bang a bunch of field goals, so I'd still go. I would go Chase, though. Good luck, everyone. Love seeing everyone each week, and big thanks to Nick. No problem. Good luck to everyone this week. Thank you. I appreciate you as well, Edward. Thank you. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate you. I appreciate you a ton. Stafford or Young? Stafford. Rodgers or Herbert? Herbert. Thank you guys for watching. Daniels or Goff? I would go Jaden Stormy Daniels. I appreciate you guys. Have a great one, and we will be back tomorrow on live. So I love you guys. Thank you for the season, and we'll be back soon. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Make sure you're here tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's go. Let's go. Williams or Connor? Connor. But boy, need 2 and 2 flexes. Hill, Ford, Wilson, Jennings, Garendo, Madison, White, Tracy. I would go Hill, Ford, and Wilson. Good luck. Good luck to everyone this week. Love you guys. Love you a long time. Have a great one. Bye-bye.